This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Today being Tuesday, we are dealing with a top 5 list, and the topic under discussion today, as you no doubt already know because you've seen the title of the video and seen the thumbnail, we're talking about my 5 favourite albums to chill out to. You know, I've done kind of videos where I've talked about my favourite albums in this particular genre or that one, or from this decade or that decade. But, you know, there are different occasions when you listen to different music. I mean, you wouldn't believe this, but 25 years ago, I was in the gym 3 or 4 times a week. Yes, that was obviously a long time ago, wasn't it? But, you know, the music I would have in my headphones when I was in the gym was obviously different to music that I would have, you know, for when I was just kind of chilling out with a glass of something warm and intoxicating, and warming and intoxicating on an evening. So that's where we're going today. The albums that I listen to when I just want to kind of de-stress, chill out, get the day out of me head, basically. So let's have a look at what they are, starting with
Come Away With Me by Norah Jones.
Yeah, I never tire of hearing this album. It's just, I think, a masterpiece of an album. You know, it's just so well produced for a start off, and Nora's voice is just like honey. It's just amazing. And just put this on, preferably with headphones on, and just close your eyes. As I say, have a nice glass of something malty and Highlandy on the arm of the chair, and just you cannot be stressed listening to this album. The title track, and think songs like I Don't Know Why. It's just a masterpiece of an album from beginning to end. This whole kind of you know, soft female kind of jazzy sort of stuff became quite the thing a few years ago with artists like Madeline Peru and Diana Krall and stuff like that. And I have got a bit of a you know, a penchant for that genre of music, but in that genre, this is without a shadow of a doubt my favourite album. Like all of these albums, I'm going to be linking to them in the description, so if you're not familiar with this one, definitely go and check it out. Highly recommended. Next,
The Guitarist by Craig Ogden.
Yes, indeed. One of, I think, the few guitar albums on, well, there's another one that's kind of quite guitar-centric, but this chap, Craig Ogden, is an amazing classical guitar player, and this album here has, I think, probably my favourite version of what's it called? The Ashokan Farewell, if you're familiar with that piece of music. Beautiful piece of music. You know, and he does a fantastic version of the Pirates of the Caribbean theme on here as well, but it's just, you can kind of listen to it with a your guitarist ears on and be absolutely stunned by the chap's technique, but it's just an album that is just so musically perfect, I think. You know, just great production. You know, some of the pieces are, you know, solo guitar pieces, and others have, you know, orchestral accompaniment as well. But just a beautifully played, beautifully recorded album that just washes all the stress away. And you know, if you're a fan of classical guitar, check it out. If you're not a fan of classical guitar, check it out anyway, because this might just make something of a convert of you. Anyway, Craig Ogden, The Guitarist. Let's see what's next.
Kind of Blue by Miles Davis.
Had to be on the list, didn't it? Yeah, I mean, if you only ever own one rock album, I suppose it should be Dark Side of the Moon, maybe. That's probably debatable. Maybe Dark Side of the Moon or Led Zepp 4. You know, there are certain albums that you think, you know, in that one genre, if you could only have one album in that genre, it would be that one. Well, for me, the one jazz album that pretty much everybody should at least check out, if not own, is this one here. You got Miles Davis, you've got Cannonball Adderley, and you got John Coltrane. I can't remember who else is on it, but it's on the album cover. Just trading solos in a beautiful, tasteful, but yet adventurous way. And So What, the way that iconic riff it just sort of appears and materialises out of the mist as you're listening to the first track. Freddie Freeloader, all blues, just track after track of just kind of chilled out perfection, really. As I say, it's the one jazz album that you really, really do need to check out, even if you don't think you're a fan of this genre. Check it out, you might be surprised. Next,
The Snow Goose by Camel.
Yes, The Snow Goose by Camel. Always, this album is always going to be in a top 5 list of my favourite albums of all time. Really, it's an absolutely gorgeous little suite of tunes inspired by the Paul Gallico novella of the same name. I think the band, I know the band. I know the band actually wrote this album as a soundtrack to accompany the book. It's longer than a short story, but it's not as long as a novel. And at an average sort of reading pace, you can read the book and listen to the album, and it's very much a soundtrack to it, really. That's I was first introduced to this by my English teacher, where we read through the book in an English lesson at school, and he accompanied the reading with this album. And it's an experience that stayed with me ever since. Just beautiful, melodic, polite progressive rock. A lot of progressive rock to me seems to be quite sort of angular and dissonant. Look at how many odd time meter changes we can pull off in one verse of one song, and listen how this piece of music can ramble around and not really sound like it knows where it's going. There's none of that on this album. It's just beautifully composed, beautifully played. The title track alone is worth the price of admission. Beautiful, beautiful album, and again, it's just one of those that just makes your troubles melt away. You cannot be stressed after listening to this album. Well, I can't anyway. See what you think. As I say, all these albums are linked down below, so go and check it out if you're not familiar with it. Next,
My Way by Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, bit of Frank here. I'd say probably my favourite Frank Sinatra album of all time is the live album he did at the Sands with the Count Basie Orchestra, with what's his name? I can't remember who was conducting it. Oh, well, I can, but I just can't remember his name. It'll come to me. Anyway, yeah, that's probably my favourite Frank Sinatra album of all time, but that's a live album, and this is, I'm thinking mainly about studio albums here. My Way by Frank Sinatra. Obviously, the title track speaks for itself, but it was, I think this came out in 1969, and there's, his version of Ray Charles' Hallelujah, I Love Her So. There's, a really interesting version of the Beatles' Yesterday on here, and it's Frank kind of taking his shot at what were at the time contemporary popular songs, and just that thing that Frank does where you think he's leaving it too late to hit the note, and then he gets there just in time. It adds something of a subliminal form of tension to the music that is resolved, but it's not tension and angst or anything like that. It's just it just sounds laid back and cool, and the fantastic orchestration and arrangements on this album by Don Costa, really do. They make it. And Frank's voice at this period in his career, I think, was probably about the best that he ever got. Again, it's got that sort of that rich, sonorous, honey-like tone. You can tell I'm a fan of Sinatra. I know not everyone is, so I'm probably not going to sell it to those people. But if all you've ever heard are, all the kind of usual things like Come Fly With Me and Fly Me to the Moon and Bewitched and, New York, New York, and you're not really kind of sure, you just like a greatest hits compilation, and you want to check out some of his studio albums, just like some of the albums that were, recorded a snapshot of a particular time and place and a point in his career, then this is a pretty good place to start, I think. And as I say, some interesting versions of familiar songs on this album. And those are the albums that I tend to listen to when I decide to just put my feet up and chill out after a hard day at the coalface, or webcam in my case. Make of them what you will. Let me know what your favourite chill out albums are, and if after having checked out some of the ones on this list that you aren't familiar with, let me know what you think of them. Genuinely interested to know if your tastes are the same as mine in many cases. But that is very much the video for today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it and found it entertaining in some small way, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and all manner of stuff. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, I think, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.